Hi, Kinesiology 3010. Welcome to our last lecture for the semester. Today we're going to talk about grading, we're going to talk about evaluation, we're going to talk about some alternative assessments rather than just looking at tests and quizzes and answering questions, how you can really assess knowledge using other forms of assessment. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but first we're going to talk about grading, especially summative evaluation. So remember, summative evaluation is when we are assessing at the end of some kind of intervention. So in this case, it would be your semester class or the quarter, a year, whatever the ending point of your intervention is. Now we're going to evaluate at the end to see if we have mastered knowledge or summed the amount of knowledge necessary to, say, pass the class. So how do we make grading fair, reliable, and valid so that we know that those who completed the work, completed it correctly, expressed the knowledge, pass, and those who did not, do not? So we have to first find defensible objectives. So what is key to this course or to this time period, this learning intervention that is required and necessary from this class? So there are objectives. If you look in your syllabus for the course, there are course objectives. So there are learning outcomes and there are course objectives. So looking at the importance and purpose of measurement and evaluation in performance in kinesiology, being able to explain basic research methods and define measurements that relate to research in kinesiology. Things like that are written strictly in the syllabus as defensible objectives of what we're trying to accomplish within this course. For example, this course, I'm just going to use this course as an example, as defensible objectives, so that when we're learning, this is what we're coming back to. We're making sure that we can achieve these specific objectives. And then we create tests to reflect those objectives. So those can be your quizzes, your midterm final exam. I know we have one objective where we're looking at qualitative analysis, for example. You're working on that, the qualitative analysis project. Conduct qualitative analysis of human movement is a course objective. So your ability to do that is a objective piece of this course, is what we're trying to achieve within measurement and evaluation in kinesiology. That's a key point, and we're going to use an alternative assessment to reflect that. And then grades should reflect academic status and not improvement. This is a key one here. We're not trying to see if you have improved throughout the class, which we hope you do, but grades should reflect your achievement. So that's why I use a point scale. So this class is out of 700 total points. Your ability to achieve the sufficient criteria necessary to pass the class with a C or C minus or better is your academic status. So if you did or scored, say, a 50 on test 1, and then you scored 100 on test 2, and that's 100% or 200% improvement, that does not mean that you should score higher than someone who scored 100% or 80% on the first exam and 80% on the second exam, and they didn't improve. Just because they didn't improve their scores doesn't mean they didn't achieve the knowledge necessary. So make sure that all of our grades are based on academic status and criteria rather than change within that individual. And then don't use grades to reward good effort. Effort is assumed within your coursework, so you can't earn points just because you tried. No matter how much you want to just give effort points to your students, you can't. Effort is assumed. Your academic status is what we're trying to see that you are able to achieve. So for example, okay, we're trying to establish relative weight of these class or different class up. This is not a true example of your syllabus. I have your syllabus here. I can kind of go through some of this. But for example, midterm and final exam for your class, I know it says 57% here. The midterm and final together are weighted as 35% of the class, plus another 14% for your quizzes. So if we're looking at all of those together, we're looking somewhere around 49% of the class is knowledge-based tests. And then if we look at our projects, we have your quantitative and qualitative analysis project, as well as your research paper and your research paper presentation. Those are each worth 7 points. So that is 28% of the class is worth, or comes from alternative assessments, application of knowledge that we've gone over. And then the other 21% comes from lab participation and assignments. So your ability to complete the labs throughout the course. So that's a general breakdown of where all of this is coming from. So half of this class is knowledge-based tests. Another little over a quarter of the class, almost a third, is from projects and applications. And then another, and then the last kind of almost 20%, a little over 20%, is from application through labs. So that's how we break down the weighting of the different pieces of your grade, say for this class in particular. Okay. Then step 2, we're going to measure the degree of attention to course objectives. So how do these different types of assessments link to those course objectives? So while we're going through these tests, your correct answer shows your degree of attainment for that course objective. So each question kind of refers back to a course objective. Same with your projects. Your projects have pieces that link back to course objectives. Same with your labs. And your ability to correctly answer and to correctly achieve that knowledge shows that you've obtained those course objectives. And if you attain all the course objectives, you have likely scored enough in total academic achievement points to pass the course. Okay. And we do that by summing the points, or in this case, points earned throughout the course to give you your final course score or your final grade. So the kinesiology department here uses these arbitrary standards. These are the set standards that we use. You can refer back to your syllabus, it's in there, of the percentage of points available that you achieve, that you earn through the pieces of the course, through tests, quizzes, labs, projects. Your ability to achieve those points, or a certain percentage, gives you a letter grade. That letter grade corresponds to the letter grade on your transcript, your GPA, and then your overall university score towards your bachelor's degree. So in this case, you're achieving a piece of knowledge that goes towards your achievement within this class, which then goes towards your overall achievement within your university degree. So these are the standards that we use based on kinesiology department and the university. And then I apply these to your points. So I actually converted all of these points. These are the point totals that correspond with each grade for this course. So you must achieve 651 total course points to achieve an A within this class. And similarly, you need a minimum of 490 to achieve a C- within this course, which would be the lowest grade you could possibly achieve to earn a passing grade within this course. So you do have to achieve this criteria of 490 total points to earn a C- within the course, which, according to the kinesiology department and the university, is passing, and you achieve those credit units towards your degree within kinesiology. So this is just, I'm using this class as a general example. If you end up in an instructor role, or you're using a grading scale in some way for your future profession, this is how you should go about this. Understanding what the standards are, what are the objectives, how are we going to measure the objectives, and then have a set criteria for what is, say, mastery within the course. But this doesn't have to always be done during tests. I talked about how we have projects and labs. These are alternative ways to assess student learning, or ways that are different than just your standard tests. The assessments gather your information about what you're trying to achieve, so those objectives. And we use both measurement and evaluation, so measurement through how you complete the assignment, and the evaluation, how it relates to the scoring rubric or the criteria for earning different points within that course or within that assignment. Traditional assessments are written tests, skill tests, or physical performance tests, especially if we're looking at kind of like the physical education realm. So your ability to show knowledge within skill mastery tests, skill tests, if say we're in the clinical exercise physiology course and you're taking that course and you have to go through the skills assessment within your lab, those lab skills are required objectives within the course. Or a physical fitness test, you maybe have to score a specific level within your activity class, or within your physical education course, you have to achieve a certain level within that assessment. It could be within a team, so you have to achieve this fitness level in order to be on the varsity or the JV team or the freshman team. So it could be something like that, like a fitness assessment to see if you pass and are capable of continuing. The advantages here with these traditional assessments is that they have good reliability, they are objective, and they are likely valid, or most often they have good validity. Because we've used them over time, we can relate back to them, and they're very standardized and specific. Some of the disadvantages is that they're not as context specific and they're not as dynamic to kind of changing environments. So for example, the written test, the standard written test that you would take in this class for an in-person exam is now cannot be the same test now in an online format. So the assessment has to change. Now it is a alternative to the standard written test. And we have to make things change and become more dynamic because we can't use always these traditional assessments. For performance assessments, you do have to show application or knowledge through skill. So these performance-based assessments are alternatives to our traditional assessments. And these may be showing skill, problem-solving ability, ability to work with others, showing how you can integrate different skills together. An example here would be your qualitative analysis of human movement project. You have a very broad directions, and now you have to apply what you've learned within the course to create a product, which is your analysis, be able to problem solve through different issues within the project in order to earn that credit. You can use this through individual and group projects. So your research presentation, your research paper is an individual project, while your qualitative and quantitative assessments are group projects. So you have to work together towards that outcome, and you have to work with each other cooperatively in order to achieve that objective, because that is a large piece of what has to be done within the workplace. You do have to be able to work with others, even others that you do not agree with or do not care for. You do have to be able to work cooperatively to achieve the objective within the company, the school, the university, in order to achieve the objective, because that is what matters within that occupation. We could also use things like a portfolio. So a portfolio, for example, I use a portfolio for my retention as a faculty member here at Cal State Bakersfield. So this is a collection of works over time that are assessed yearly to show that I have improved, that I'm achieving objectives, that I am meeting the outcome requirements for each course. Students are doing well, students are enjoying courses, students are doing well in courses, they are achieving objectives, and I have to be able to show that using a portfolio to retain me as a faculty member here at Cal State Bakersfield. So that's an alternative assessment. I don't have to take a mastery test every year on teaching my courses, but I do have to show what I do within the courses and how those are achieving the outcomes. You could also use different things like a student journal or a log. So I use these kind of assessments with my athletes that I work with, my personal training clients. They have to record their performance within every session, which includes things like readiness surveys, like how was your sleep last night? How is your mood today? How sore are you? So those are feelings, their perceptions, what they're doing. They add comments, so there's open-ended questions with there also, as well as recording their performance within the individual training session. And over time, we're able to look at these logs and say, okay, you've been doing these objectives well, which maybe our objective is to limit the amount of low quality sleep that you have. So maybe recovery is an issue for one client, and we want to work on sleep. So every time they go through their survey and I keep seeing that they have low quality sleep, low quality sleep, low quality sleep, and then they have a high quality sleep and then a few more low quality, I'm going to go back to that day that was high quality sleep and ask them what went on, so that we can achieve the objective of improving sleep quality. Even though their training is maybe more strength and conditioning, maybe sleep is the one that's going to give them the better overall improvement within themselves. We can also use other alternative assessments like rubrics. So we have a specific criteria for someone to be judged on. So we use these a lot with essays. So all of your projects will use a scoring rubric. You had to create a scoring rubric itself within your qualitative analysis project. So this is how we score and are able to show what meets those criteria for each level to earn each level of either excellence to poor, good, or satisfactory description of your score within the quality of that work. Okay, so this is another way for us to assess in a more subjective way while still trying to be as objective as possible and limit as many biases as possible. All right, thank you very much for a fantastic semester. And I look forward to seeing you throughout your rest of your career at CSUB and hopefully beyond. Thank you very much, and enjoy your winter break or your summer break or your any break that you're taking right now. Have a great day.